Welcome to your final month of the Blends Club. I hope you have really enjoyed and have been inspired by the cards that we've made. And this month I thought we'd do something a little bit fun. We're going to do a fun fold card, which I did in one of my classes, and it's using the bird Banter. And you're going to open it up, and there is the fun card. So that's what we're going to be making today. And then I've got 2 more videos for you of using the bird Banter stamp set in several different ways. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm going to push this off to the side, and we'll go ahead and get started stamping. I've got my cardstock and everything has been pre-stamped and scored. And of course, you'll have all the dimensions and the PDF tutorial that you can download. I'm using the Real Red cardstock in black, basic black. And then you've got a couple of pieces of the white, Whisper White. I've went ahead and stamped the last one just to save time, and then this one I've went ahead and prepared the paper. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our birds, and of course we're going to do that in Memento ink black. So the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to stamp the branch from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it in soft suede because that's what our birds are going to stand on. I want to make sure that you can see this. Let me get the black out of the way for now. So let me go ahead and stamp that first, and then I'll color in the leaves. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Let me get a piece of scratch paper. So I'll get the branch on there where they can sit on it. And with the photopolymer, you can adjust this how you want your branch to go. I'm going to put this at a little bit of an angle, and we'll just stamp that down. And again, let it sit for just a couple of seconds so the ink can transfer to the paper. And I'm just using basic Whisper White on this one. Of course, I missed his tail, so let me go back. I didn't realize I had all that covered, and do the tail. Bear with me one second. Not the tail, but the end of the branch, so it goes off the card. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use, that's the only ink that we're going to use. It's not Memento black. All right, so now we're going to stamp our bird, and this is the parrot. And again, we're going to stamp him on like he's standing on the branch. So I'm going to get him on there and let that sit for just a minute. This is such a fun stamp set. I just really like this. All right, let me move this out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to come back and stamp our little bird, and we've got him right here. Now, when you look at the stamp set, there are several different birds, so you want to make sure you're getting one faces to the right and one faces to the left. So you want to make sure you're using the right one. So we're using this stamp, and we're going to use this one to in this card and this little guy, and then the other ones we're going to use in the next one. Actually, we're going to be using this guy on this card as well. I think he reminds me of a cockatoo or whatever you call him. Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp this little guy so they're looking at each other. So we're going to stamp him like he's sitting on the branch. And then the next thing we're going to do, because I want to get all my stamping done before I start coloring. So I am now going to take the balloon, and I'm going to attach it to my block, and then I'm going to stamp it where the bird looks like he's holding on to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my ink on it, and then I'm just going to kind of position this, and I'm going to put a little piece of paper because I want it to look like it's coming right to his beak, and this string is a little bit long. So we're going to go ahead and stamp the balloon right here so it looks like it's going on his beak. And it's close enough, but what we'll do to fix that is we'll take our black marker, and we will connect the line to his beak. So let me get the black marker out, and then all we have to do is take the fine point in, which is this one. Just like the blends, you've got the little end and the big end. So we're just going to take this, and I'm just going to curl it up to where it looks like he's holding on to it. That's all we have to do. Pretty good. All right, so now, the only one last thing we got to do is we have to stamp the little birthday hat. So let me grab my stamp. I didn't have that on a block. Let me go ahead and get that done. I just thought since it's a party, we gotta have a party hat. So again, we'll just put a little bit of ink on here, and we're just gonna stamp this on his little head, and we'll just do a little bit of coloring with that. Okay, so that should be all the stamping on this one. And now on this one, we're going to go ahead and stamp them all now. We're going to be stamping the bird that faces to the right and then this bird here. Okay, can you see that? Let me zoom out just a little bit. All right, so we're going to stamp this guy and this guy. So let's go ahead and get them stamped. So let me grab them out of the box. So we want the little cockatoo guy and then this little guy because we want him looking to the right. So bear with me. I apologize for this. So all we're going to do is stamp these guys as if they're kind of like they're sitting on this paper. So I'm going to just bring him in here and just kind of get him where he looks like he's standing on it. Then we'll stamp the other little guy. And then we're going to put him right about here. Perfect. Now we can start coloring. So let me move all of this ink out of the way. Okay. Probably should have stamped all those before we started, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to be using the light cherry cobbler. I'm using this for his the party hat. This is the light rich raspberry. I'm using the dark pool party, and then I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay, and this is the light Bermuda Bay. These two colors really go good together. And then of course I've got both yellows and the color lifter. All right, so we're just going to start coloring, and you can color any way you want. So I'm going to start on, let me start on these little guys first. So let's start with the bird. Now, I just colored him all yellow. You can color him whatever color you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and start coloring. I'm just going to color him all yellow, and then we'll come back and add some shading. And when you get into the smaller spots, again, you want to use the smaller tip. All right, so we've got that. Now I'm going to come back with my darker shade. I'm going to use a small tip, and we're going to do a little bit of just where the artist has done those lines. So we want to do that. I'm going to pull in a little bit so you can see. All right, so we're going to, and then I think I'm going to put a little bit of shadow like around his belly right here. Maybe we'll make his little feathers a little dark up here. Don't ask me why, just because I feel like it. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go back to our small tip of our light color, and we're just going to bring that ink down and try to get it blended in. And then his tail feathers, we want to pull it up. And then these we want to swirl. I'm going to pull it up like that. And then this guy I'm going to swirl to try to get the ink. I think I'm using up my Daffodil Delight. Look, feels like it's almost like it's running dry. All right, so we want to do that and get those in there. All right, so I think he looks good. Now I'm going to do his, oh, I didn't pull it out. I'm going to do his beak. I think he needs to have an orange beak. So we're going to go orange. Whoops, let me get the, I'm using the pumpkin pie dark. So let's color in his little beak. All right, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and color his orange as well since I've got it out. And then this little dude, and again, you can color whatever colors you want. Make sure you put your caps on tight. I'm going to make sure I'm in the camera. Then we're going to start with the light pool party is what I did on his head. So I'm just going to cut my swirls around. And I'm just going to stop right there. I'm going to make his head lighter. His bottom feather. So I'll use the dark Bermuda Bay on here. And then we'll come back and we'll accentuate that. And then I'm making his body red. And I'm using that red, the cherry cobbler. All right, so we're going to start with the little one. I'm going to pull in some ink on his tail. And then again, I'm just going to kind of do little swirls so I stay within the lines. Whoops. Now I just went out of the line. So guess what? We got to use our color lifter. And we're going to push this little red thing back in. You can see it pushing back because I've taken a little bit of ink off. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go back with our dark Bermuda because I want to pull in a little bit of what the artist has done with his feathers. And then we're going to do a little bit more here. And then I'm going to take the pool party and I'm going to go over both of these. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll this in here and get those blended in. And I'm going to do a little bit with his wing. All right, so I think that looks good. All right, so we're done with him. Let me move this over because it looks like the ink tried to smear a little bit. So let me move that, push that back. All right, and that should dry. So let's put him off to the side. All right, now we're going to move on to this guy here. Okay, so the same thing. We're going to take, let's start, we'll go ahead and do the balloon since he's at the top. So I'm going to leave that opening white since that's what the artist had done to make it look like there's a shadow. So we're going to not color that in. And I'm just coming around with my marker, and I'm using the fat tip. It's a little bit easier because we've got some more, we've got a little bit more space in here. And then you just swirl it or whatever you're comfortable with and get that in there. Now while we have the red out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do his beak red. So I'm going to have to be real careful because I'm doing the beak and I'm using the fat tip, so I don't want to go outside of the lines. All right, so I think that's good. So we'll leave that up. Let me go ahead and do this guy. Might as well use all the red while we're doing it, right? I think I'm going to go with the small because I'm afraid his little body is so small that I might go out of the lines, and then I'll have to use the, which I already did. So we'll have to use the color lifter on that one. All right, make sure I keep this in the camera. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this guy. We're going to start again. I'm going to do just like I did with the small die. I'm going to make his head, just his hair. I'm going to make his face yellow, but I want this part of his head, and I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, and then I'm going to make his tail. I'm going to make that lighter, and then we'll do a little bit of highlighting with the dark. All right, so that's what I'm going to do there. And then this one, we're going to make him a little bit lighter as well. Oh, I didn't color his beak. We'll color this with the darker. Okay? All right, so we're going to come back with our dark Bermuda Bay, and we're going to now color his wings, and I'm going to accent here. I'm just going to go over the lines that the artist did for his feathers, so that when we get ready to color his chest. Now I just did that, and that's going to be red, so that might be a problem, but that's all right. All right, so let's bring our pool party back in, and we're going to take this where we made it darker and just kind of blend it, pull it down, and then we're going to go over this and try to blend in. And just remember, you never have enough ink. You know, you can always put more on if you want it darker and all sorts of stuff, but I love this little bird set. Okay, I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to do some more coloring, and then I'm going to put a couple of little marks with the Bermuda just here and right here. I'll get some little depth in there, and then I'm just going to come back and blend that in as well. So we're going to blend. Okay, all right, so far so good. Okay, so now we're going to take our yellow, and we're going to paint this guy. I'm going to make him yellow all the way around his face, his little feather neck, and then I'm going to bring it in here. The last one I did not, this one I didn't color his feathers blue. But you know what? He's got that blue, so he could have blue on his belly, so that's what we're going to go with. We're going with blue on the belly. This guy doesn't have any yellow, so we're good. All right, so we're going to come back. I'm going to do this old boy's nose in orange. Let me do that before I forget. So we just want to put some orange on there for him. We don't want him to look just alike. Okay, now we're going to come back with our darker Daffodil Delight. So we're just going to do some edging here, and we're just going to make him a little bit darker in his chest area and his neck. And then I'm going to come back with a lighter shade, and I'm going to blend where I put the little shades right here by his face, and then I'm just going to come around here and blend where I put the darker. Okay, so he's coming together. I don't know about the blue. I don't think I like it like that, but it is what it is. And then I'm going to color his little hat. I'm just going to do this like purpley color since it's a party, and I'm just going to color this right here. We'll just leave it like that. And then I'll come back with Pool Party, and we'll just color that part right there. See how easy and fast this card's coming too? Then I'm going to take the light olive, and I'm going to color in the branches. I'm just going to make little marks to color them in. So it looks like there's some green leaves there. All right, so that one is done for the first card. And then this one's done, so we're ready to put our card together. So what we're going to do is we are now going to fold our cardstock, and always when you fold it, sorry if my head gets in here, when you fold it, you always want to make sure you get your edges lined up. Use your bone folder because it does give you a crisp crease on the card. Wait a minute, I gotta make sure I'm doing this right. One, yeah, this one goes this way. So the top little one, the smaller piece at top is going to fold back, and then this one will fold down. Okay. All right. So now with our black, we're going to go ahead. And all of this will be scored when you get it, and then you'll have the directions. And I think this is such a fun card that you can make. So the ladies that did the fold class really liked this card. It was a lot. So what will happen when we get ready, we're going to attach the white pieces first, but what we'll do is we're going to, now these are not going to line up, these, because what's going to happen when we go to open it, see, that's going to come down like that, so when the card closes, you don't see it. So we want to make sure that when we put this on here, it closes like that. So what we'll do is we're going to just go ahead, we're going to attach our whites first, and then we'll attach the black. So our white card, our large one, will go on the large piece of the black. And use your adhesive. I'm using snail, and you can use whatever you're comfortable with. And then this again it will have a slight border. So we'll put that there. And then we'll put these two little funny guys in the center. So everybody's having a party. Can you see me? Can you see it? Okay. And then the last one, a little birdie told me it was your birthday. So that's what we're going to put on here. Okay, so let's get him on here, and we'll put that down. Okay, so that's good, right? So that's how our card's going to fold up. So my recommendation is that you place your card where you want it, so that when you get ready to fold it, you'll attach the bottom. So if you look, I want the bottom. There's too much here, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my top part of this card, so I know I can come about down to here, because I don't want to put any more adhesive below that spot, or it won't fold right. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to line this on here, and before I set it down, I know I want my bottom to be about like that, because I want it to close. So I'm going to do this right about, and I'm going to push it down, but I'm not going to push it down all the way, because I want him. Okay, I think that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. And then the only other piece you're going to do is you're going to attach your bottom piece. Put that there, and put that there. So I want this to fold. Sorry if my head's in the way, I apologize. So I want this to fold, and you might even want to attach the bottom first to make sure that when you fold your card that it does fold, because you want the bottom to be covered. So it probably would make sense to do the bottom first before you attach the top. Now I'm just going to lightly put that down to see if that's going to work, and that's a little tight, so I'm going to pull that up, and I want to fold this. I'm just going to fold that up to make it easier. Fold this flat, and there we go. Okay, you see that? So we're good to go, and now it opens up. There's your card, and it fits in a regular size envelope. Isn't that a cute card? So that's our first card, and in a minute we'll go ahead and start the second card. You'll get that video here shortly.